Warframe and Star Citizen both have massive and connected communities. Both have a colossal variety of clans and organizations, and their offline communities are just as large, with their subreddits and official Discord channels hosting hundreds of thousands of players. They also each have their own yearly conventions. Warframe has TennoCon and Star Citizen has CitizenCon. Thousands of people travel from all over the world to connect with others and the developers. What is it about these two games, whether it be gameplay, content, their structure, or even something else, that promotes the building of these large and connected communities? While on a surface level these two games share some of the same themes, they really are quite different. Warframe is built for over-the-top action, flipping through the air, speeding through levels, mowing down waves of enemies with crazy and powerful abilities. Star Citizen, on the other hand, is focused on building realism and immersion. Slow and methodical combat is advised. Star Citizen is a completely connected and open world. No loading screens, seamless transitions from space to the planets. In Warframe, there may be planets, but the locations themselves are disjointed. They're procedurally generated levels, mainly composed of connected hallways and spaces. While there are open-world-esque locations in Warframe, they're also separate from the rest of the game. That's not to say that it's bad, just that the two games are fundamentally different. So the differing core gameplay between these two games rules that out as the reason for their large communities. While that aspect might be different, they do have a very important similarity. They are both highly social games. Both heavily promote cooperativity. In Warframe, your frames are loosely fit into different classes. You've got the damage dealers, supports, defenders, and healers. These different roles promote group play to tackle objectives. Endgame boss fights generally have co-op mechanics and large health pools. Grouping up for these is highly encouraged. In Star Citizen, a large number of their ships are centered around group play. The bigger the ship, the more people are needed to run it. There are a wide variety of multiplayer-based ships, from dropships to frigates, to medical and security ships, to multi-crew mining or salvaging ships. Its tactical and realistic approach to ground combat promotes organized group play to take down threats. With death only one headshot away, having medics and medical ships for respawns is almost a necessity. Project Massive, a study of online gaming communities by the Human-Computer Interaction Institute at Carnegie Mellon University, interviewed 1,836 people. 39% of them reported that the social experience and co-op experiences were their primary reason for playing. This pattern was consistent across all the games they studied, underscoring the importance of the social experience in games. Warframe and Star Citizen feature extensive character growth. Warframe does this with builds, endgame ability modifiers, and fashion. Star Citizen does this with ship and player upgrades, armor, and reputation systems. Project Massive found that character growth was second highest on their reasons for playing. Thirdly, both games have extensive chat options and large and important social spaces. Warframe has clan halls and relays, places where players can meet and trade. Star Citizen's spaceports and space stations are teeming with other players. The social side of gaming, a study of interaction patterns in massively multiplayer online games done by the Palo Alto Research Center, took a look into the social aspects of Star Wars Galaxies. To quote, "Most cities in Star Wars Galaxies have spaceports, shuttleports, medical centers, cantinas, theaters, hotels, and cloning stations. Each of these buildings enables players to perform certain actions that cannot be performed anywhere else. For instance, people gather in cantinas, in part because they are one of the few places where entertainers can heal other players' battle fatigues. Therefore, there's a strong incentive for entertainers to stay in cantinas, waiting for tired combatants to come watch them." Systems like these are put in place by the developers specifically to encourage player-to-player interaction. The rationale is that players can use these periods of downtime to engage in small talk with each other. In fact, The lead designer of Star Wars Galaxies, Ralph Koster, even states that this is a law of online world design. Socialization requires downtime. Star Citizen's focus on immersion and slower gameplay promotes social interactivity. For instance, trams at the spaceport only come at certain times. There's usually a few minutes between them. This gives opportunities for players to meet each other. Warframe's choice to only allow trading in relays and clan halls also promotes this. The other important aspect is text chat. In Supporting Communities in Massively Multiplayer Online Role-Playing Games by Game Design by the Nokia Research Center, they state that communities do not exist without some kind of communication. Online games should provide the broadest possible ways to communicate. The more often the player can contact other players, the more likely he is to actively contribute to the game's social framework. All three studies I've talked about have mentioned how important it is to have text chats in a social game. While Warframe and Star Citizen play very differently, they both build their games with social interactivity in mind. This promotes the forming of large and connected communities. Both developers go one step further as well. They themselves are part of and interact with the community. They host conventions and regularly live stream dev workshops. They're very open with their development, taking feedback and insight from the community to help shape their games. It promotes a feeling of connectiveness and community, like we're all in this together.